Namaste all of you. My name is Dr. Ritu Singh Rajput, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today, from Department of JAYOTI VIDYAPEETH, Women's University, Department of Food and Biotechnology. Today, we will discuss about the session number overview of inherited and acquired disease of gene therapy. Generally, researchers are studying gene therapy for the number of diseases such as severe combined immune deficiencies, that is called as SCID, hemophilia, Parkinson disease, cancer, HIV. That as in our gene therapy session, I have told you the two types of therapies, which is somatic cell gene therapy and germline gene therapy. Somatic cell gene therapies are therapeutic gene transfer into a somatic cells. And in germline gene therapy, the therapeutic gene transfer into the germ cells. So, as you know, with the name somatic cell gene therapy, that means that is related to the soma. That means soma means body. That is related to our somatic cells. And germline gene therapy, that is related to the germ cell. That means gene introduced into the egg and sperms. And the somatic cells are generally, you know very well, that can be our skin cell, blood cells, bone marrow cells. Okay, so in a somatic cells gene therapy, they are inherited in generation. It will not be inherited. And the germline gene therapy, it is heritable. It will be passed by one generation to second generation. Somatic cell gene therapy is present all researchers directed to the correct genetic defect in somatic cells. And in germline gene therapy, for the safety and ethical issue, there are some technical reasons they generally not attempted in the present scenario. So there are two types of gene therapy as we have discussed, and today again I told you somatic and gene therapy. Now, how it is work? A vector delivers the therapeutic gene into the patient target cell. After that, the target cell become infected with the viral vector. Then it will be goes into the vector genetic material and inserted into the target cell. After that, it is functional protein are created from the therapeutics genes, causing the cells to return normal state. So in this manner, it is work. First of all, you have to transfer, then it will be converted into the vector. After that, we insert it into target cell. That it will be used in the generally treatment. Generally, we have seen so many things in gene therapy trial for inherited blindness, like chloroderma is the rare inherited caused by the blindness that is affects around in 1 to 50,000 people. This is currently no cure. So we can be treated by the gene therapy. They have been trying for the treatment of this disease by the gene therapy. It caused by the defect in CHM genes on the X chromosome. Without the protein produced by the CHM genes, pigment cell into the retina from the eye slowly stop to the working. Then generally they will be died of. This is the example of the inherited disease. I will told you the acquired disease gene therapy, how it will be treated. The cancer is also a part of cancer disease, a part of acquired disease. For example of the acquired disease, multiple gene therapy strategies have been developed in a treatment in a wide manner, which is cancer, including suicide gene therapy, oncolytic therapy, therapeutic gene vaccines. They are using in this treatment. 2 or 3rd of all genes are generally trial for cancer, and many are these entering in advanced stage. So in phase 3rd trial, they generally including in a generally 3rd trial. So in additionally numerous phase 1 and phase 2 is a clinical trial for the cancer in the brain, skin, liver, colon, breast, and kidney, among the others, are being conducted into the medical centers and biotechnology companies, the novel technology, the therapeutic development on generally inside. So generally They can be made some vaccines for the trial version that can be used by the gene therapy and treated this acquired disease. So, and there are so many diseases which will be treated by the acquired disease, which is, for example, there can be Parkinson disease. They can be treated in thalamus, and they can be convert trial. First of all, they treated that procedure in the preliminary stage. They are trying with this therapy, and now I will told you the types of genetic disease. The genetic is generally a disease caused by abnormality in generally abnormality like a range of the major and discrete mutation and single base in DNA or single genes to grow chromosome abnormality involving in an entire chromosome, a certain number of the chromosome. So they can be inherited genetic disorder. And while the acquired genes or mutations in a pre-existing genes group of genes that is caused generally a genetic disease, and that genetic mutation can be occurred by the randomly due to some environment exposures. So there are some inherited genetic disorder and inherited genetic disorder and acquired genetic disorder. Generally, four types of inherited disorder are present, which is the single gene inheritance, multifunctional inheritance, chromosomal abnormalities, and mitochondrial inheritance. In a single gene inheritance example of the, you can say there is a Down syndrome, which is the symptoms are the small head, small neck, flat face, upwards slanting eyes, tongue seems like very large, and mouth is also look like a very large, hand tends to be very wide and short fingers, and the joints tend to be not properly a flexible manner, muscle also like a ton offs. So there are some types of syndrome which is related to the symptoms, and the inheritance generally disorder are the generally the single gene inheritance, and also called a Mendelian monogenetic inheritance. And then after that, the change or mutations that occur in our DNA sequence of the single gene causes a different types of inheritance. There are thousands of knowns a single gene or disorders. They can be monogenetic. You can also say disorder of the single genes. The single gene disorder have different types of patterns and genetic inheritance, which is like autosomal dominant inheritance, which only can be one copy of defective genes, and second one is the autosomal recessive inheritance. They can be two copies of defective genes, and next one is the X-linked inheritance, which can be affected only in a female, only affected to the only X chromosome. That is a inheritance disease. Some example of the single gene disorders are the cystic fibrosis, alpha beta thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, Marfan syndrome, fragile X syndrome, Huntington disease, and these are the common example of the inheritance disease. Multifactorial inheritance is called. Second one is the multifactorial inheritance. This is the common complex or polygenic inheritance, which is a multifractional inheritance disorder caused by the combination of environmental factor and some mutations. It has been generally found in the chromosome number 6, 11, 13, 14, 15, 17, and 22. They are some kind of chronic disease and multi-fractional disorders. For example, they are heart disease, high blood pressure, Alzheimer, arthritis, diabetes, cancer, obesity. And now the next one is the chromosomal abnormalities. Chromosomal distinct structure made up by the DNA and the protein, and they are located into the nucleus of each cell. Because chromosomes are the carrier of the genetic material, and abnormalities, if we found abnormality in chromosome and number of structure can be resulted into the disease. Chromosome abnormality is a type of occurring a problem in the cell division. Whenever in a cell division there finds some abnormality in division, that can be cause uh, some types of chromosomal abnormalities. First of all, the example of the Down syndrome, which is some kind of examples are Down syndrome, which is present on trisomy in the common genetic disorder that is occur. The person has 3 copies of chromosome number 21. There are many other chromosome abnormalities like Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Cry-to-Chet syndrome. In this syndrome, the person will be whenever they cry, the sound came out like a cry of cat, and it will be present on chromosome number 46. And disease may be occur generally because of chromosome translocation, and its portion of the 2 chromosome are exchanged. And generally, third one is a mitochondrial genetic inheritance disorder. This types of genetic disorder is caused by the mutation in non-nuclear DNA of the mitochondria. Mitochondria are small round or rod-like organelles that are involved in cellular respiration, and it is found in a cytoplasm of plant, animal cells. And generally, mitochondria may be contain 5 to 10 cellular pieces of the DNA. Since axils but not in sperm cells, but it can be during fertilization. For example of mitochondrial disease are Leber hereditary optic orthopy and eye disease, and myoclonic epilepsy, and the mitochondrial lactic acidose disease. So these are some kinds of disorders which are presenting different types of inheritance and acquired disease, which is present in human just because of some error in chromosome and some translocation and some dislocation in chromosomes. If some bases are absent and some bases are not present in properly in a manner, and it may be cause some mutation. So these disorders are caused by these things and affected by these things. And generally, I have told you about the some inherent difference between somatic and the germline therapies, and how they will be treated, and different kinds of I have told you the how to gene therapy treated in different kinds of genetic disorders, and different kinds of disorder which is acquired or acquired and inherited, which will be single, multifunctional, chromosomal, and mitochondrial. So in this chapter, we will discuss about the all acquired and inherited disease and disorder which is present by the all related to the chromosomes and related to some disease and related to affected by the some environmental and other factors. As an exam point of view, they will ask you some question. What is the inherited disease, and what is the difference between inherited and heritable disease? Which therapies are useful in inheritance, and which therapy are used in acquired? And they can be asked the procedure how it will be treated, and they can be asked the different types of mutations, and they can be asked in single chromosome disease name, for examples name. They can be asked in generally in an optional way. They can be asked different types of acquired disease. For example, I have told you cancer is also acquired disease. So many disease. Example of inherited disease. They can be asked which factor is responsible for this particular disease. This genetic disorder present in which chromosome number. So you have to know about all these things. So thank you so much.